Hi, I'm Jennifer Janish, owner of Adored Salon and Adored Signature Hand-Tied Hair Extensions. I'm obsessed with curly hair. I cut it, style it, and extend it, and this podcast is all about my curly girl obsessions that stretch far beyond just curly hair. Hey guys, it's me, Jennifer from the Curly Girls Obsessions, coming to you live from my daughter's room because the lighting in here is the best in the house. She's got this great little vanity mirror with all these lights that you could pick the settings, and then behind that is her window. So a lot of natural light comes in. It's honestly my favorite. Anyways, so today, back from New Hampshire, did the first curl tour class of 2025. And as usual, I was so lit up in the class, and then I came home exhausted. If you watched last week's podcast with Alyssa, you could tell that I'm not at 100% on that, which really made me sad because she had some really awesome stuff to share. It didn't make her stuff any less awesome. I know that I yawned a lot through it, and that's actually kind of embarrassing. And it had nothing to do with her and everything to do with the fact that I was exhausted. um, but in New Hampshire, we stayed at this really cool hotel in this multi-use community. It used to be a racetrack that they tore down, and they built a hotel, condos, restaurants, shopping, open air space. I mean, it was one of the coolest places. To me, it was very similar to where we stayed in Atlanta, and that was called Atlantic Station. And that was a really cool place to stay. This one was bigger than Atlantic Station, but we did have to stay in a hotel room, which we're used to staying in Airbnbs or VRBOs. And so we usually have a little bit more space. This, we were a little bit crowded. And when I say we, Chloe came with me on this tour. But you know, we had a lot of good times and we worked really hard. This was one of the first tours that we did the classes all day, and then we came back and we had a lot to work on. Chloe and I are taking this class from Boss Babe. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of um Boss Babe, but they have some of the most amazing trainings for businesses, online selling, email marketing, funnels, like all the things. And so we're in the heat of it in that class and during that curl tour class. So we had a lot of work to do every night. And honestly, some nights my brain was just fried, especially after the blueprint class, because you literally talk all day long, at least I do, discussing all things curly for curly hair extensions from start to finish on an install. And my brain just kind of I don't even know how it functioned, but I think it was like around 9 o'clock. And I looked at Chloe and we were down in the lobby because the lobby of this hotel was so cool. Um, it was scented with this scent diffuser that threw this amazing scent through the entire lobby. I think I said in an Instagram post, like I wanted my hair to smell like it. Smelled so good. It was called In Motion, and I forget what the scent company was, Kick Sync or something like that, or Link Sync. I don't know, but the place smelled amazing. And so we're sitting down there at this table just to be out of the room so we could have a desk to work at and chit chat and work on our computers. And at 9 o'clock, I'm like, Chloe, my brain is done. I cannot do this anymore. I've talked all day long, and I gotta go to bed. And I went upstairs and I went to bed. Chloe kept working, the little worker bee. She yeah, and we did come back with a lot of really good content, a lot of really cool things to discuss. Um and reinforcement that what the curl tour does is a needed thing. You know, you go through these stages of business, right? So, um, when I started out being a hairstylist, like it was just all about cutting and coloring. And then, sorry, I'm going to shut off my notifications. And then, uh, if- 15 years ago was when I went to become certified in curly hair in New York. And that leveled up my career a whole nother level. And then a year into doing that, I decided that I wanted to do hair extensions. And I took that hair extension class. And honestly, like the more and more I think about it, the more I think about how we worked on that curl tour. It was like, I just I don't think I know how to operate in slow motion, and that was a takeaway from the conversation last week with Alyssa because she went to this spa, she totally relaxed, and she's like, "You really need to do this." And I know that I really need to do that, but I just don't know if I can. As crazy as that sounds, I know I have an addiction and it's called work. I love the salon. I love curly hair. Actually, it's like it's not called work. It's called people and learning is what it is. I love being in the salon. I love, curly hair, hair extensions, and I love putting myself through these courses where I continue to learn more and more all the time, be it practical use within the hair salon and on my clients, or behind the scenes with the hair salon, or be it the extension line, learning all the things behind the marketing. And the marketing actually just straight up, like, let's just be real. When you learn marketing skills, you learn skills for human life. You learn skills for your business, but you also learn how to sell yourself. And at the end of the day, that is like one of the biggest things that you could do for yourself. And, always like learning to do more, be better, be this, be that. But it definitely does skyrocket your potential of working because you do push yourself more when you continue to learn more. If you're wondering why I'm drinking with a straw, I drink too much coffee and I cannot risk my teeth turning yellow. Why am I drinking coffee with a straw? Well, it's a metal straw with a rubber tip, so I won't burn my lips, but it is so that the coffee goes past my teeth. And sorry guys. My Even though I'd shut off my notifications, PayPal decided to call me just now. Um, and I'm sure I know what that's actually about. They had sent me this integration to put on the e-commerce site a couple weeks ago, and it didn't happen. They sent it to me when I was in New Hampshire, so that's why it didn't happen. That's why they're calling me, but regardless. So and throughout the years, I have taken different education to level up this career. So we're talking about the class and we're talking about how Chloe and I worked late because we're working on this new class series that we got going on for 8 weeks through Boss Babe. And just like the thought process of becoming that workaholic, always doing better, being better, doing more. And, there's kind of like a lot of hate online for that. And they say, like, you need to know when to put it away, you need to know when to stop. And honestly, when you own your own business, you are always thinking about it. You might even see online, and maybe my feed feeds me this because of the way that I think, but it'll say like your business is not your baby. Um, your business is not an extension of you. And honestly, it's just it's wrong. It's totally wrong because your business is a massive investment of financial, and your personal time. So it kind of is an extension of you. It kind of is your baby, and you kind of have to nurture it as if it is too. Not kind of, you do. Otherwise, it will fall. And when it comes to the world of hair, things change so fast. And when it comes to hair extensions, again, things change really fast. You're like, oh, how does it change? Like hair is either lighter, or darker, or longer, or shorter. Well, the methods of install change, the thought process, the wins, the gains, all the things. And if you own a business in hair extensions, you're watching all the time. Like hairstylists are always looking to make more money, and I think that, I mean, in general, everybody's always looking to make more money. I mean, unless you're Richard Branson and you've got just tons of it, right? But like most of us don't reside in that tier. So everybody's always looking how to perfect their craft, how to do things better. And, same with going back to that education. And so when you come into the hair extension world, hairstylists are more creative brain just naturally. So the struggle becomes, right, what they're charging, what their worth is, how are they saving this? They want to dress and act like their clients who are spending all this money on these hair extensions, but they're also not wanting to get left behind. So they're always trying out new things. And being in this industry for as long as I have been, stylist for 35 years. Um, if we go back to when I started assisting in my mom's best friend's salon, God, I was 11 years old, 12 years old. I was really young. That's like 38 years ago. But going to the hair extensions, 15 years in that business, 15 years in of curly hair, and just seeing how things evolve and watching the communities seem to look large on social, but they're very small. Straight hair is, you know, much bigger than curly hair because of the fact is like every stylist is trained in straight hair, and then curly hair is a niche. Hair extensions is a niche. Obviously coloring is a niche within the big, but because we're all trained creatively, a lot of hairstylists struggle when it comes to saving their money because they're not charging the prices that they should. They want the things that their clients come in with. And it puts, I feel like the statistic is something insane. Like 80% of hairstylists aren't even making like $30,000 a year, but their debt is hugely high because they are used to seeing clients with all of these nice things and then they want it and they go and buy it. But when it comes to hair extensions, that's like the next tier in hair world, right? So if you're going to be a hairdresser or a hairstylist, however you want to phrase it, and you want to do the top dollar ticket, it's hair extensions. Um, I've not known a colorist yet that charges anywhere from, you know, uh, hair extensions on the high end, 3,500 to $5,000, 5,500 I've seen. And I don't see many colorists charging that for their color. But I mean, it just is what it is. The hair extensions is like plastic surgery for the hair. And in order to be really good at it, you've got to level up your skills, you've got to push yourself. And it's kind of going back to always learning, right? That education, always learning how to do better, be better. Same with extensions. And learning the methods, there's a million different ways to put hair on someone's head, but you can learn everything under the sun, or you can hone into what you know that works and you can level up those skills. That's totally what I've chosen to do. And that's what I teach on the curl tour because the better that you do one thing, you are going to make money in a shorter amount of time because your muscle memory is there, right? So if you're doing all the things, it's going to take you longer to make more money because if you go from coloring someone's hair to cutting and styling someone's hair to putting in extensions and then you go back to doing say a man's cut at the end of the night, like it's not fluid, right? Even if you've been doing it forever, it just isn't fluid. You have different conversations with the people that you're putting in, that you're cutting their hair or you're putting color on than you are having with the client that you're doing hair extensions. And definitely totally a different conversation from hair extensions to a man's haircut at the end of the night. And I think too, when it comes down to dollar amount, you just learn like, okay, well, I'm going to put my focus where I'm going to make the most amount of money per hour. And I don't know who doesn't think like that. And for some reason in the hair community, though, there's always slack on that one because, you know, people don't like to talk about what they charge. They're ashamed about what they charge. Um, it's kind of like frowned upon, like as if you do this for a hobby for your health. And yeah, you want to do Aunt Sue's hair for free every 6 weeks because you love not having money for groceries for you and your four kids at the end of the week because you've done everybody in your family because they're your aunt or your cousin or your this or your that at a discount because that's kind of like the social norm. But I'm here to tell you it's not the social norm. They don't go to work for free, so you shouldn't go to work for free, and that's the truth of it all. Nothing will drive me more crazy than the person who's always asking for a discount. I personally I don't think I ever ask for a discount anymore because it drives me so insane when someone does that to me. It's like, do you value me and my time, or are we bartering in Tijuana at this point? Like, no, just doesn't work like that. And, I know you guys are sitting there, some of you are cringing and you're like, oh, but this is family, this is that. Again, wherever that family member works, they're not going there for free. They're not going to do the job because they're friends with their boss and their boss is like, "Oh, today I need you to work for free." No, that's just not how it goes. So don't fall into that trap, right? And how do you not fall into that trap? Well, glad you asked. You always keep educating yourself. You always keep leveling up yourself inside and personally so that you are always on that next layer. You are always doing things at the next level to make the whole client experience better. Um, and I don't care if it's that you took a class on, front desk etiquette, or if you took, you know, the Mac Daddy of extension classes, you're always educating yourself and leveling yourself up to level up your client experience, which then in turn allows you to d- charge, you know, the price in which you're worth. And when it comes down to it, it's also honing in on what is your client. And this spans across every industry. I don't care if you're a hairstylist or in another career in which you have a client that you have to talk to, right? A used car salesman. The used car salesman that's selling you know, the bottom of the line, the lowest, the cheapest car that Chevy has to offer is selling differently than the person that's selling the Lamborghini. It just is, just that way. You got to level up your skills to create the client experience. There's a market for every person, but I don't know about you. but I want to be the person that's selling that damn Lamborghini up there because that's going to be the skill that gets you further faster. It's going to be the skill that allows you to make money in a shorter amount of time and not as painful, making less money in a longer period of time. I love that statement, by the way. It's by Myron Golden. Um, and it's easier to make a lot of money in a shorter amount of time than it is to make less money in a longer period of time. I mean, damn, that's a brilliant one, right? In any field, that is the statement I think that everybody would love to know how to achieve. And so when it comes to the hair world, when it comes to hair extensions, it is leveling up your education. It is providing that ultimate client experience. It is that you are delivering the results that's going to make the person want to charter a plane to come and see you from 10 states over and spend $4,500 on their curly hair extensions. Who would have ever thought? Not me. Not me. Not the girl in hair school 35 years ago, 36 years ago, when my hair school teacher told me that we'd be lucky to make $250 a week. Absolutely not. Um, and honestly, that is my next client next week for hair extensions. I can't even believe it. Yep, chartering a plane, coming across the country, and yeah, getting this Mac Daddy hair extension install. And I'm super excited about it. But again, if you would have told little old me when I started out in that first hair salon and my haircuts, I think at that time were like $23, like that would even be possible, I would never have believed you. But how did it become possible? It became possible because I stuck with my craft. I leveled it up every year and I continuously grew my skills and changed the game. And be it that the game changed so minutely or big, it just every year it did change. And let me give you some examples of that. Okay, so this year, right, is following the curl tour last year. We had 8 stops and we educated out the ass on, curly hair, hair extensions, everything under the sun. And it is all on my profile, right? So like when you're marketing on Instagram, they say only market to what you want to do. So what does that mean? If you're a hairstylist and you do everything, but you're sick of doing everything, and you want to cut out child's cuts and men's haircuts because you're just like, I can't stand doing them. I say that because I don't like doing either of those and I don't do them anymore. But you're not going to sit there and post children's cuts and men's haircuts on your social media if that's what you don't want to do anymore. It would be a waste of your time. So you just start posting what you want to do, right? So I started this in, I want to say probably mid 2023, maybe even early 2023. I only would post to my feed curly hair, curly hair, curly hair, curly hair. And as of late, it's pretty much been curly hair extensions, curly hair extensions, curly hair extensions. Every now and then I'll throw in a curly hair post, but the person always pretty much does have long curly hair. So at first glance, people don't know if they're looking at a curly haircut or curly hair extensions. But because of that, there's an insane amount of social proof on what I do. So, hence, all of a sudden, a massive influx of curly hair extension installs into the salon. And we've always had them, but within this last month alone, I have had so many new installs after not for a long time. Like It goes in waves, right? Like, you get the new clients, and then you do the raises, the raises, the raises. Every now and then, they sprinkle in new clients that are getting installs, but a lot of your time is spent raising the old extensions or doing new installs on your previous clients. And honestly, I love that. I love all my extension clients. Um, I kind of vet them through a process to make sure that I'm going to like them because I'm spending a lot of time with them throughout the year, more time than most of my family members at the end of the day. So you see those clients a lot over time. And then all of a sudden, on my books, like, it's been loaded with hair extension consultations, and they're all curly hair extension consultations. There's not a straight one in there for me. And I think that it is due to the fact that my social media presence, it shows all curly hair extensions, and it shows me educating on them. And honestly, I really don't think there's anybody else really out there educating on them, at least into the level that I am. There's just not a lot of information out there. It's kind of like the early days of curly hair too. And I still kind of feel like we're in the early days of curly hair. And so that's one example, right? Like, that's actually kind of like a big change because it spanned over a long period of time. It took a long time for that to take hold, but some little tweak that we made at the salon that's really cool and got traction like that. And I think that it got traction like that because we have the social proof of all the curly hair. So when we made this little change and this service upgrade called the Curly Experience, we took a curly haircut and style with a deep treatment and we elevated it. And it's the highest price point for a curly haircut at a Adored Salon. And you start out with a scalp treatment and a hair detox. That leads into a deep conditioning treatment. That leads into your cut and style with a curl specialist. And then we teach you how to style your hair with a personalized hair product prescription from the salon. Hello, it's easier to sell the curly experience than it is haircut only. The curly experience more than triples probably the haircut only, but because they already trusted us and they could totally see all this social proof on curly hair, they're like, whatever it is that they're doing, give me more. I want it, and I want it so bad I'm gonna spend $350 on it or more because that's the price. But then when they come in, they also purchase all the products. They purchase the head wrap that we tell them to sleep in. Yeah, like, it's building that trust and elevating that client experience along the way and educating ourselves on how to get there. When it came to the curly experience, we were seeing all over hair detox, hair detox, hair detox. I'm like, you guys, we got to get in there. We got to figure this out because here's the thing with Weed products, which is what we use, they're all water soluble. They don't build up on the hair. Um, but what does build up on your hair is the minerals in your water that can totally be a game changer as far as how your curls are going to perform. If you're using the We Dot products that we love, your hair is like it's breathing, you're dealing with water soluble products that rinse off just with water. There's no oils, silicones, and like just thick waxes on there because that's not their belief. And then they're also conditioning your hair, right? But the buzzword that's all over social media is hair detox, right? And now we're seeing more about scalp treatments at the salon. I don't know about you, but those shampoo bowls with the little fountain and everything showing up on my feet all the time made me also realize, like, we got to take this to the next level because people are going to go and they're going to get this done somewhere else. We need to do it at our salon. So we started it. It's like a scalp facial. It's freaking amazing. And we put the steam on it. Again, it's like moving off the charts, right? So we educated ourselves on what exactly we could do to replicate this experience within the salon. We added in the steamer and we already had the products for it. We just weren't using it enough. So that's how we created that, and it was one small tweak to an elevated client experience that made them want to spend more with us and get that higher service. Because honestly, it is the Mac Daddy when it comes to your curls. Like, it's going to make your head feel awesome. Your hair is going to be awesome. You're going to have more volume. Your curls are going to clump better. It's like all the things, right? And same with the hair extension experience. If they're seeing on our feed constant education and going out there and showing people what we know how to do, then we're going to get the clients that are going to charter the plane and come across the country and spend the money to get their hair done right by the person they want it done by. Doesn't matter what the hell is going on in the economy, women want to look good. And as a hairstylist, if you could deliver that, bingo, you're set. It's just the way it is. Honestly, it's just the way it is. So, about all of this, right? Like, I've talked about the curl tour. I've talked about elevating your client experience. I've talked about the fact that you always need to get educated. I talked about the fact that you need to show your niche on social media in order to have social proof. And if you're sitting there like, oh my gosh, this all seems so overwhelming, don't worry. It seemed that way to me too in the beginning. But the only way that it's not going to become overwhelming is if you put one foot in front of the other and you start to do the walk that creates the dance that you want to see more of. Honestly, that's my tip for today. Create something that not everybody else is doing so that you can do it best. And if you happen to already do that, then maybe you need to get out there and educate about it. You need to hone in on your messaging. You need to deliver the results and you need to keep talking about it. Tune in for next week when I talk to you guys about the fact of what talking about your niche can do for you. As if I didn't already say enough today. Next week, we're going to get into the fact of what people think when you do speak your word and when you have a really strong belief behind what you do. Sometimes it's not always perceived as the best, but the people that matter are the people that are showing up for you and attending your stuff, coming in to see you and thinking that you're awesome because what you do, nobody else does. Your client experience, it needs to be top notch. So, tune in next week. I will be wearing exactly what I'm wearing right now, and I'll be sitting in this exact same spot because I'm going to record it right now. So, if you don't already subscribe, hit subscribe. If you don't follow on Apple Podcasts, hit follow. Does wonders for the podcast. If you have a friend that you feel needs to hear this, send it to them. Helping this grow brings awareness for all the things that we talk about here on the Curly Girls Obsessions. If you don't follow me on social media and you'd like to follow me, I am at Jennifer_Johnson_Janish. And the salon is Adored Salon, all one word. The extension line is adored_signature_hand tied_hair. I know it's a lot, but I'm not rebranding it. I love the name. It is what it is. So if you want to go see a bunch of curly extension installs there, go on over. And I'll see you next time. Thanks.